my name is Simon Miller and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling and welcome to Ups and Downs. Now, if you are a very serious viewer of this show, you will have seen recently that Adam Cleary, the man who does NXT Ups and Downs, got kidnapped. So I just wanted to start things off here by saying, if you do know who stole him, please get in touch. And for everyone that said, it was you, Simon, are you kidding me? My big bald head would have been seen a mile coming. But as we are here, just in case Adam never comes back, I just want to give him a little bit of salute and a little bit of a thank you, because way back when, I mean, we're talking about 2016. If you do go watch any Simon Miller videos from 2016, it's a little bit like I'm looking at a deer in the headlights. Adam Cleary was always very, very supportive, especially of my Pro Wrestling Journey series, and it gave me confidence and it made me feel like I was a part of a team. So I'm sure he will be returned in good condition, but just in case, Adam, I always really appreciated it. And with that said and done, now let's get into Impact Wrestling. Boy, howdy, was this a doozy. Let's up those downs. First thing we learned is that Johnny Bravo is going to be okay, but if he ever does come out of this coma, and he does, spoiler, he may be a completely different person. Another spoiler, that's total bullshit. That's a massive shame too, because when I first heard this, I was like, I know what Impact should do, because they're always so funny, and they're always so goofy. They should get a different wrestler to play the returning Johnny Bravo. That would have tickled me, as did when a doctor was talking to Scott D'Amore and he was telling all this stuff, and at one point, Scotty thought he was being asked whether they should pull the plug, and he just went, yeah, we probably should do it, like he didn't care. Made me laugh, but it was harsh. Then found out that Matt Striker was going to be on commentary this evening because Madison Rayne is going to be a part of Wrestlers Court later, and then we were right in to the Women's Tag Team Tournament. It was the Sea Stars, who did look a little bit like they were shells you'd find on a beach, taking on Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. And again, because we'd never seen the seashells on Impact, you could probably see where this was going. This is going to come very complicated and very tongue-tied. And that was doubly true because at one point Striker said, oh, it's the Sea Stars, they're here to make a splash. Now, he did admit that he was making a pun, but I thought about punching myself in the face. This was well played too, as we made sure that Ashley Vox and Delmi Exo, I believe that were their names, got their stuff in, and you need to do that in order for when they do come back again, you're like, oh, it's the Sea Stars, I know they've got the chops. So Vox kicked that off, and then Exo continued that on later when she got the hot tag. It was just nice, easy, simple stuff. Their lack of experience, or at least in the world of Impact Wrestling, did eventually catch up to them, because Steelz and Hogan got rid of Vox, and they were beating up Exo. Finally, they hit a net breaker, 1, 2, 3. Those two are going through to the next round. So there was nothing wrong, it did what it had to do, and we really do need to just give a round of applause for Impact's Women's Tag Team division. It is so deep, you could swim through it, because, you know, the sea stuff. Let's just move on. We then cut to the back with Jordynne Grace and her brand new tag team partner, that was Jazz. I was a little bit disappointed with that. It was just so anticlimactic, because last week, Jordynne Grace was like, oh, who's it going to be? I'm on the phone. And then she was just there in a camera shot. And if you had done that reveal properly, it would have been great. Jazz has always been awesome, and that tag team alone, that will kick some ass. And the reason she has come out of retirement is because she wants to give up her career when she is a champion. And honestly, Jordynne Grace and Jazz, not only should they run through that tournament, they could also probably beat up most of the men too. Then found out that Gallows was injured because, of course, the North had beaten him up recently. And I don't know whether this is a work or whether it was real, but they did say we're not going to see him for 4 to 6 weeks, so we'll see how that goes. And Ethan Page and Josh Alexander were so mad that they'd done this, because now they can't get their tag team titles back from the Good Brothers. Thankfully, Ethan Page can get some of this rage out later when he takes on a phenomenal wrestler. Just you wait for that. And then it was Wrestlers Court. Let's go. Now, yes, if you don't know, this is based on all the rumors and the hearsay and the backstage stories we've heard about actual Wrestlers Court that wrestlers actually did. This is kind of like an homage to that, and you had Tommy Dreamer as the judge, but then he was on the prosecution, and Madison Rayne was on defense, and D'Lo Brown turned out to be the judge. If you enjoy seeing familiar faces, this was for you. The best part of all of it is when Madison started doing her opening speech, because she was like, look at Johnny Swinger. Look at him. You think he could have killed Johnny Bravo? He's a buffoon. He's a moron. He's actually stupid. I did think that was quite funny. We then went through a bunch of other witnesses who said, I think he did do it, I think he didn't do it, and then Tommy Dreamer was like, why are we even doing this? We found a gun in Johnny Swinger's bum bag, and I think we should keep our time and our attention for part 2, because you're not going to believe your ass. I really don't understand why Rohit Raju is in charge of his own destiny, because he was doing the Defeat Rohit challenge here, but he just made up the rules as he went. And I know that shouldn't be the case because last week, Scott D'Amore, he was actually trying to get one over Rohit Raju. I was a little bit confused. Anyways, the point is he was doing his open challenge and out came Suicide, but Rohit is no moron and he knows that under the mask is TJP because of everything that happened with last week with TJP and Scott D'Amore, so on and so forth. So yeah, he then just went, well, we can have a match, but the X Division title is not on the line. Why does he have the power to do that? The whole story was then Raju trying to remove the mask to prove, haha, it is TJP, and the commentators were putting it over as well, like, oh, he's doing all of TJP's moves. But then halfway through, TJP's music hit, and he came out, so I was like, well, who the hell is Suicide? And the answer was Crazy Steve, and straight away I went, well, wait a minute, if that is Crazy Steve, he's just been doing all these badass maneuvers, why doesn't he wrestle like that all the damn time? TJP also arriving obviously distracted Rohit and he got beaten using the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment and he was so mad afterwards and I kind of understood why. I suppose what happens now is that Suicide does get an X Division title shot, but this time it will be TJP under the hood. And I see, there's just too many plot holes in this. There's too many Scott D'Amore would have just swung in and stopped this, but he didn't. So he's getting it down. Moose then kept going crazy because Sami Callihan was trying to wind up Ken Shamrock because of course he is going to be taking on world champion Rich Swann later. And Moose was like, look, here's what's going to go down. If you somehow are able to beat him, you got to face me. And when that does happen, don't forget what happened last time we went face to face. I kicked the crap out of you, which is very, very true. Also had that dive where Ken Shamrock almost killed himself. Oh my gosh, it was terrifying. Things then got weird again because Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K were taking pictures as they always do because they don't do anything else with their damn lives. When Alicia Edwards turned up and said, yeah, Tennille, I think we should try again with this tag team thing. And I was like, Alicia, what are you doing? She basically screwed you over last week. If you can't figure out that she's utterly obsessed with herself and you want to do it again, then more fool you. I mean, Dashwood wasn't even interested at first, but then changed her mind and you could just see it. A blind man could see it. This is going to happen exactly like it happened first time around. I suppose if it ends with a feud between these two, that is kind of interesting, but my word, did it make Alicia Edwards look like a goof. We then learned that Killer Kelly and Ren and Michelle were here in Impact Wrestling and wasn't that nice. They're also going to be in the women's tag team tournament, but tonight Kelly was going to be involved in singles action. She was taking on Kimberly, and it was fine. Up. This was also really short, which is something that Impact Wrestling does really well. It didn't need to be a 25-5-star classic. You just needed to see where Killer Kelly's strengths were, and you did. Even though she did lose. And that probably does mean that Kelly and Michelle are going to do well in the tag team tournament, because that's just how wrestling operates. But yeah, after Kimberly had smashed her with a swanton bomb, 1, 2, 3, she was out of there. Something nuts was always going to happen too, given that Deonna Purrazzo was also at ringside, and I was just sat there looking at my watch going, well, where's Su Yung, where's Su Yung? But we didn't get Su Yung, and instead we got Susie. Now she wasn't very happy because obviously Purrazzo and Lee kept attacking her friends, so now her friends are going to attack them, and in a very nice piece of editing, Su Yung actually walked out and passed Susie before she whipped the crap out of these two assholes. Now I know, I get it, if it was live and there were fans in the arena, you wouldn't be able to do this, but here's a little bit of a spoiler for you. It wasn't live, and there were no fans in the arena, so if you want to have a little bit of fun with that, why don't you? You should embrace the situation, and I tell you, Impact Wrestling always does. So yeah, it was stupid but fun. I'm a little bit worried that maybe they go one step too far, and they do a tag team match between those four. That'll be too much, but I bet you that happens. Amazingly, Alex Shelley was then here, and he's over his injury. He's back. So that was wildly exaggerated. And him and Chris Sabin were here, and they're going to go get revenge on all of their tag teams and climb back to the top of the mountain and get their tag team titles back. But it does beg the question, what the flip happened to James Storm? I guess we don't have to worry about it. Rich Swann was then apologising to Willie Mack in the back for not helping him in his feud with Moose. Now, as he'd be like, I see Rich Swann, I see how it goes. When you don't need to be concerned with Moose, you don't care about your friend Willie Mack, but now Moose is on your ass, you're like, oh, Willie Mack, I'm so sorry, please help me. Mack brushed it off because he's used to getting beaten up, which is absolutely true, before Chris Bay busted in, and once more, he's just trying to stir up as much shit as possible. He's also still going after this title shot, and I assume now he's going to have to go through Willie Mack before he makes his way to Rich Swann, and I'm very excited about that, and I also like these multiple storylines that Impact Wrestling are telling. It means you can pull the trigger whenever you damn please. Swann and Willie eventually were done with this fall, so they kicked him out the room, and there, I tell you, it's gonna happen. Right, last week, as you do remember, and as we've already talked about, Ethan Page was told by the Good Brothers that if they wanted a tag team match again, he is gonna have to defeat a phenomenal wrestler. You were meant to think this was AJ Styles, but any wrestling fan with any brain went, well, it's not going to be AJ Styles, because he is signed to Wild Wrestling Entertainment. So it was time to discover what the hell they were going on about, and yeah, you got AJ Styles' Titantron, you got AJ Styles' theme, you know, yeah, whatever the hell it is, and I should have known it. As soon as it happened, I was like, of course, who's the punchline to every wrestling joke? Who's Illegitimate Son, and who's the Raw GM? It was Swoggle. Flippin' Swoggle. He was dressed up as AJ Styles, and even the commentators pretended that it was just a smaller version. And I know that some people like this, and if you did, hell yeah, man, you've been entertained. That's the whole point of television. I just thought it was the wrong side of dumb. Down. Page didn't take this seriously at all, and nor should he, but that also confused me, because I was like, didn't Swog have a match with Brian Myers, which we were meant to take seriously, and he should have beaten him at one point. He had him pinned, but he picked his shoulders up, so when Carl Anderson distracted him, of course, Ethan Page got rolled up, using the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, and not only did he lose to the Swog, but he just said goodbye to his Tag Team Championship rematch. I mean, Ethan Page, what the hell were you thinking? Page had a breakdown after this, as you would expect. My big thing I want to know is how was he not able to kick out of this, especially because Ethan Page has just gotten in the best shape of his life. You need to work your glutes more, man. You need to work your glutes more so when people roll you up, you can push them off, especially when it's flipping Hornswoggle. Sorry, just Swoggle. Back to round 2 of Wrestler's Court, and once again we were going through all the witnesses, but we just need to get to the end of this, because I can't believe the Impact not only blew it off so quickly, but blew it off in such a, yeah, whatever, I don't know, it was that guy way. Down. Because eventually Rosemary was on the stand, who did admit that she never loved Johnny Bravo and just wanted his damn virgin blood, when Johnny Bravo just came bursting into the room and was like, hey ho, I'm back, and Rosemary, I don't like you very much anymore. And I was like, no, you wouldn't. He then said he knew exactly who did shoot him, because he could smell him, and I'm glad at least they threw that in there, because like the lights went out. How do you know? And as it turns out, it was Lawrence D, who, as you may remember, is the alter ego of Larry D when he smelled that magical perfume, or whatever the hell it's meant to be. They just sat there too, and he was like, yeah, I did it, because I love Rosemary, so I thought, well, if I kill the fiance, I can probably go out with her. And then we just moved on. I did not get months, weeks of it's lost on me. Maybe you liked it again, fair play if you did. I thought we could have done much better. It just felt like nobody gave a rat's ass. There you go. Johnny Bravo's back. He's exactly the same. Lawrence D is a murderer. I guess he's going to jail, and he should be locked away for a long ass time. And it's also a down for Fala Bar versus Daivari. It's not their fault, but I think I was just still reeling for what I'd just seen. It didn't even go 60 seconds. Joe Doring and Eric Young were here. They beat everyone up, and then Eric Young was like, oh, we run the world, we own the world, like they were in Titanic. Rhino also tried to make the save, but he got beaten up. I mean, they are getting a bad rap here by poor Simon Miller. But yeah, it's just so damn sad. TJP was also then talking to Swoggle and Crazy Steve trying to get some help when Brian Myers arrived and said, you're all losers and I don't like any of you. There you go. In what was a little bit more interesting, Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly then hunted down James Mitchell and asked for help with Su Yung. I was like, what the hell are you doing? He's gonna take their soul, or he's gonna tell you to do something with their blood, because everyone's at Impact Wrestling's obsessed with blood. And he even said, there's going to be a massive price to pay. Mark my words. They will regret this. Thankfully, the show ended with a bang. Up. It was Swann versus Ken Shamrock for the world title. I know a lot of people get on Ken Shamrock's ass, but you have to watch his matches and remember, he's in his 50s. His 50s. If I am able to do what he's able to do in my 50s, I expect everyone to just go up, 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 up as I'm walking down the street. Callahan also made a mistake because he got involved way too early and the ref wanted none of that, so he sent him to the back. But this didn't really affect Kenny at all. In fact, he was in control for large portions of this, and he was working over Rich Swann's bad leg and just trying to choke him out with guillotines. Rich Swann looked like he was in trouble. Even when Rich finally got his comeback in, it was still Shamrock who was in control, and if he hadn't gone for one too many guillotines, maybe right now I'd be calling him the Impact World Heavyweight Champion. Unfortunately, he did. By that point, Rich had come up with a plan, and he reversed one of these into the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. Make sure you watch those Impact. You're getting very, very close, but still your champion, Rich Swann, although he didn't look like a very dominant one at all. Still, I really like him. Ken Shamrock was so angry afterwards he took out the referee before Sami Callihan came out like a kid who was like, oh man, now we can start destroying things. And even though Eddie Edwards tried to make the save, he got absolutely walloped as well. Plus Sami went back after his eye, And there was this feeling in the room like, wait a minute, have we just written Eddie Edwards off TV again? He only just came back. D'Lo Brown at one point with a bunch of officials was also trying to stop this, but he failed, and eventually it took around about 92,422 individuals before they were able to get these two out into the back. So there was like no pretending otherwise. These two guys are your most dominant heels, and I really don't know what they're gonna do next, because they both tried to beat Rich Swann, and they both failed. I guess the twist is that Chris Bay could still figure into this, because he was talking to Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan last week. But yeah, this was a very good ending to Impact. But I've got to be honest with you, that disappointment from the Who Shot Johnny Bravo and a bunch of other crazy angles, that means for the first time since we started doing it, this week's Impact has got to get it down. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's Impact, especially the reveal of the Johnny Bravo stuff. You tell me. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you throughout the week.